If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel and another tutorial. Today I am happy to sew along with you the Bella Wallet by Sallie Tomato. Let me show you the features of this bag. Or I guess it's a wallet, it's not a bag. This pattern you can only do in non-fraying fabrics. Actually, the exterior you could probably do in cottons if you wanted to, because there are no raw edges on this main piece, but the back pocket is raw edge. So you'll have to use like cork or vinyl or leather, what have you, but it has this generous pocket. Again, this back pocket is optional. My favorite thing about this, I've been on the hunt for one of these for so long, is one that a zip around that opens up and lays flat, which this one does. And it's not birthed, which is even better. So I'm really, really happy that Jess has allowed me to do this tutorial to show you this amazing zip around wallet. So I've done mine in all cork. All of the inside is all raw edges, so it definitely has to be a non-fraying fabric. You have this optional zipper pocket in the middle. You do not need to put the zipper pocket if you don't want to in it. On one side of the zipper pocket, you have an ID holder, and then on opposite sides, you have 4 card slots. This is like the perfect wallet for me. It's my favorite style. Again, I'm super happy that Jess allowed me to make this. I've been wanting to make a zip around wallet tutorial for a while, so I'm happy that I can make this pattern, and even more happy that it is a lay flat one. Like, really, oh my gosh. Anyways, stuff I use in this bag. Actually all of my hardware, including my zippers and zipper pulls with this one, are from Emmeline bags. It's minimal hardware. My cork is from Cork Supply. Interfacing in this bag, so she uses different stuff in the pattern. I substituted in what I have available here in Canada. So the exterior piece is interfaced. I used EB Heavy from Emmeline bags, which is an equivalent to a Decaville Light. You could use Decaville Light if you wanted to. I use a Decaville Heavy for my heavy stabilizer on the inside. You could definitely use Peltex if you wanted to. One thing I'm wondering if I would do next time is add in some, a little bit of foam or fleece. You can get that foam that you pack dishes in, which is perfect for wallets. It just gives it that little bit of squish. That is not in this one, that is not in the pattern, but I think I'm going to try that with the next one I make. I did edge paint all of my raw edges. Again, that is optional, not in the pattern, just something I like to do. And I use Giardini edge paint, which I get from Emmeline bags. What else? Again, this is not a birth bag, but there are raw edges. What I learned from this bag, her technique of the zip around wallet is mind-blowing. It is amazing. I can't wait to show you how it works. It's just so simple. This is a super fast project, super fast to cut out. I do not have a cutting tutorial on this one, as I can't share measurements or anything like that. This would be something that would be really easy to program into your Cricut maker or some sort of cutting machine to cut the pieces quickly. It was super fast to cut them by hand as well. Yeah, really, really fun pattern. Yeah, I think that's all there's really to say about this bag. How about we get to making it?
You're going to need number 5 zipper tape, number 3 zipper tape, 2 number 5 zipper pulls, 1 number 3 zipper pull, and your optional nameplate. You'll need your EB Heavy or Decaville Light piece, your 2 heavy stabilizer pieces, 2 piece G's, 2 piece F's, your main exterior piece, your 2 interior pocket pieces, your main lining piece, your ID pocket piece, 4 zipper, or those are your 2 zipper extensions, 4 zipper tabs, and your outside exterior pocket piece. Okay, so we're going to take our exterior piece and we are going to use our exterior piece A template to round these corners. So on the wrong side of your exterior piece, lay this down on the corners, match up the straight edges, and draw your curvy parts. Then go ahead and cut those curves. Once this is done, you're going to take your interior piece B, do the same with your EB Fuse Heavy or Decva Light, whatever you're using piece, and your lining piece using the corner template piece B. Once that's done, we're going to take our two heavy stabilizer pieces and our corner template piece again, and we are going to round the corners just on one long side of both of these pieces. Now that those are all cut, what we want to do is we want to fuse these onto the backs of our pieces. So I'm just going around on my exterior piece and just making some guidelines of a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. That's just to help center my EB Fuse Heavy piece nice and centered here. Again, you can use Decva Light here. I'm going to fuse that on, and then you're going to do the same thing for the interior lining piece on the wrong side. Mark your seam allowance just so you can get this nice and centered, and then you're going to fuse one side or each of these on its corresponding side. Now that we have our interfacing fuse, we're going to set the exterior side for now, and I'm doing this just a little bit earlier than it does in the pattern, mainly because I want to edge paint. So along the sides of our interior piece, we want to find our centers. I'm just doing that by folding it like so. Now I can't give measurements, but you will follow the measurements within the pattern for cutting out the little notches we're going to do on the sides. And what these notches are for is where our zipper tape is going to feed through. This just makes it so it has a little more clearance for our zipper pull and it's not kind of hanging up once this is all done. So go ahead and cut out those little rectangles as per the measurements in the pattern. This is something else I'm doing a little bit early. This is the exterior zipper pocket. So you are going to go by the measurements in the pattern and you are going to draw a line from the top corner of that pocket to the little marks we had on the bottom, and then you're going to line up the corner template at that mark and at the side and make our rounded corners along the bottom. So this is kind of sort of on an angle, so draw that onto the right or wrong side. Flip it over, do the same on the opposite side, and trim that up. Again, I'm doing this early because I want to edge paint all of my raw edges before I start sewing. Doing a few steps early just so we can prep for edge painting. We are going to draw a diagonal line again as per the measurements in the pattern. I'm drawing a little box of those measurements and drawing a diagonal line just on the two bottom corners of our interior zipper pocket and trimming them up so we get a nice shape like so. You'll do that for both. Now that that's all done, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to use 3 layers of base coat, 1 color, 1 protecting gloss. On these, we're going to go all the way around for their zipper pocket pieces, all the way around for our card slot pieces. For these card slot pieces here, you only have to do the very top, all the way around for our ID pocket, just the top one side for our zipper ends here, all the way around for our exterior zipper pocket, and all the way around for our lining panel. Okay, so now we are going to prep our 2 zipper pocket pieces. You're going to draw a line halfway up on the wrong side. We're going to take our zipper and we're going to put it down like this, and we are going to go ahead and base that in place with an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance just below that line. Now that that's done, what we're going to do is we're going to fold these over. Now make sure it is the side that you edge painted. If you edge painted, that is along the right side of this. Fold it over, and then we're going to go ahead and we are going to top stitch along here with an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance on all 4 sides. I'm going to go ahead and chain stitch these just to make the process a little bit faster and cut my threads after. Now we can go ahead and we can trim these zipper ends to be the same width as our zipper tape. Now we're going to take our exterior zipper piece, and I am going to measure in, I think it was about 3/8 of an inch or so, just to make sure my zipper is nice and centered. You can go ahead and figure out your measurements there, just in case your zipper is a little bit longer. On the wrong side of the straight edge of my pocket piece here, I've put some double-sided tape. Now make sure your pull is closing to the right, not the left. I have it the wrong way here, but you're going to put this on top, leaving about an 1/8 of an inch between the teeth and the top edge of this, and then you're going to go ahead and top stitch this in place. So as you can see, this pattern is all about the raw edges, which is why I chose to edge paint it, just because it gives it that little extra shine, and it definitely seals in those ends of the cork leather or vinyl better. So now that we've finished that, we're going to take our exterior piece here. We're going to find our top and bottoms and side centers. I did not edge paint this as there will be no raw edges for this piece. And then once again, you're going to refer to your pattern, and I'm just making sure my centers are centered. You're going to refer to your pattern and measure up. Measure down from one of the top sides, draw a line, and we are going to put some double-sided tape right along the zipper tape here of the unsewn side. Put these right sides together and line that zipper nice and centered, right as I am doing here. Right along that line, using your tape to stick it down. And then we're going to go ahead and we are going to sew through this part here with the 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. This is what that looks like. I know it looks kind of funny. Now, as per your pattern piece, measure up from the opposite side, draw a line, and we're going to put just about a 3-inch piece or so, or 2-inch piece or so of double-sided tape here. And then we are going to fold the bottom edge of that exterior zipper pocket down to the line and stick it in place nice and centered. And we are going to top stitch all the way around those last 3 sides with an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Now I am changing into my right zipper foot just because of where our zipper end is. I know that my standard foot will eat that up, and this will make it so I can get nice and close to that zipper end without needing a hump jumper or worrying about it eating up my very expensive cork here. So go ahead and top stitch this in place all the way around. done, I went ahead and I put in 2 rivets just on either side of the zipper ends just to give it a little extra stability there, backed with some scraps of deckable heavy pieces. I also went ahead and installed my zipper or my nameplate on the opposite side. Now we are going to work on our zipper extensions. So you could just fold these in if you wanted to. I'm going to use some double-sided tape just because I love double-sided tape and it's going to hold these in place for me nicely. So I'm just putting it on either side of the short ends, not over the zipper teeth, just like so. And then we are going to fold these in kind of halfway over those zipper teeth, like so. Bringing each of those in at, I want to say that is a 45-degree angle, but I really don't remember, on both sides. Make sure your zipper pull is on at this point as well. Then you're going to tape your zipper extensions and you're going to measure up as per the pattern, draw a line. So these are wrong sides up, and then we're going to take our zipper right side up and place it on the wrong side, so they're wrong sides together. And then we are going to sew across here from that line with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I've done that on both sides. Now this gets tricky. I actually had to do this a few times. I have my centers marked and I have my zipper open to the right, and we're going to put this right sides together, and we're kind of going to fold the zipper down upon itself at a 90-degree angle, wrong sides together. So this is right side down, folding it wrong sides together at a 90-degree angle. So we have the raw edge of the zipper tape matching the raw edge of the exterior piece. You want to make sure that your zipper teeth are right side down. With it folded down like this, you are going to notice that your zipper pull is right side up, and that is exactly what we want. So then go ahead and clip the zipper tape all the way around until we get to the other side. Be very careful not to stretch your zipper tape, just kind of ease it around those corners. In the pattern it says you can do some small snips into your zipper tape. You're more than welcome to do that if you like. I'm always scared to do it because I'm always scared my zipper tape will unravel. I don't know if it actually will, but in my brain it does, so I never ever clip my zipper tape. So go ahead and continue clipping this all the way around. We've kind of clipped it around and we are to where the other zipper end is. We're going to kind of do the same thing, fold that zipper tape right sides together like so, or wrong sides together, sorry. Again, it's super confusing, and clipping that in place. I'm just going to hold these zipper extenders in place with a few clips. Make sure everything is nice. You want to make sure your zipper teeth are nice and centered where it folds over there, with the center marks that we did on the side, and same with the zipper pull, should be nice and centered with their center mark on the opposite side. Now we are going to measure about 5/8 of an inch away from that center and make a mark on our zipper tape on either side of those centers, and this is going to be where we're going to start and stop sewing on each side and back stitching. That is leaving our zipper tape nice and free for when we need to tuck it back inside onto the wrong side. So make those marks, and then we're going to take this to the machine, and we are going to stitch all the way around here with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, starting and stopping at those points. Again, I have my right zipper foot on. You will definitely want to do this. It helps make it so you get a nice and straight and even zipper. Also, use a stiletto or a screwdriver or any kind of tool to help hold that zipper tape in place, because when you get to the corners, it is a little bit tricky, but just go ahead, make sure you have no nips or tucks and or pleats or what have you, and take those corners nice and slow. Now that the hard part is done, what we want to do is to make it so when we go to fold the seams over and top stitch, that the tape will sit nice and not too bulky on top of the corners. I'm pulling away the zipper tape, and I'm just using my pinking shears on the cork here. So just trimming it away. You can go ahead and just put little notches if you don't have pinking shears, and this just helps the zipper tape lie flat, so it'll help us with top stitching. Now you can definitely go ahead and just finger press this in place if you like. I'm going to use some double-sided tape because I'm using cork and it doesn't always like to finger press well, so I am going to use my double-sided tape as a pressing agent for when we go to press the seam into the center, or into the center of this exterior piece. So once you have that, pull the paper away from your double-sided tape and start folding your seam allowance that we had just sewn down towards the back, wrong sides together like so. Your zipper tape will probably stick up a bit. When we go to top stitch this, you're just going to have to be very aware of that and make sure you're tucking that down and in place. I didn't want to do another layer of double-sided tape because that would definitely probably gum up the needle a little bit too much. One layer is perfectly good. So go ahead and press that seam all the way around. Now that that's all pressed nicely, you're going to go ahead and start and stop at where we started and stopped our stitching when we put the tape on, and top stitch with 1/8 of an inch seam allowance all the way around. Install a wristlet. This is where you would put your D-ring connector. You would just slide it in there, and then what we're going to do is just go ahead and top stitch just between those marks, which I have done, and that folds the whole seam under. Now for these little zipper extenders, you're going to kind of twist them, put them right sides together, and we're going to just top or stitch those with 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Just kind of squish everything down like this and get that under. So again, we put them right sides together and stitch them with 1/8 of an inch, and then straighten them out like so, and that'll hold your zipper in place. That is your exterior done. You can go ahead and you can set that aside for now. Actually, first you may want to make sure it zips up, which mine does. Exterior looks great. Okay, now let's work on these card slots here. We want to go ahead and top stitch the tops of all these with 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. All right, now what we want to do is, as per your pattern pieces, measure down to the measurements and draw a line with some chalk. You are going to take your pattern piece Fs and we are going to put them along this line. I'm going to use a little bit of 1/8 of an inch double-sided tape, which I got from Cleaner Supply, just along the bottom edges of this to help hold it in place. And you are going to want to place these nice and centered and stick them down along that line. Pointing in opposite directions, of course. So you want them to be pointing up towards the tops. Double check that everything is nice and centered. Readjust if you need to. I always like to double and triple check to make sure I'm centered, especially when it comes to card slots, because if you get it off, then your cards definitely will not fit. Do the same on the other side. And then we're going to go ahead and we are just going to sew across that bottom section to hold those in place with 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. So I've gone ahead and done that. Now you're going to take your piece G's. I'm going to use some 1/8 of an inch double-sided tape again. And what you're going to do for the placement of these is you're going to kind of match them up until you have straight lines where the sides of these meet up with the pattern piece F's. Once they match up and you have a nice straight line, stick them down. You just kind of have to eyeball it. I'm going to make sure that the bottom of those are definitely even, and they are. And I'm going to mark a center line going from the V point to V point of those two card slot parts, and we're going to go and top stitch all the way around and up the centers of them like so. So again, we're going to go down with 1/8 of an inch seam allowance down on one side, needle down and pivot across to that center line, go up that center line, and I'm going to go down the center line as well. That's just going to give a little extra security for cards going in and out of these. You do not want those stitches to pop. Back down to the bottom, across the bottom, and up the other side. You'll do the exact same thing with the opposite side card slots. Truth to make sure that they still fit in there, and they do. You want to make sure you have the seam allowance along the sides of these for when we go to attach it to the exterior, and I think I'm okay. So we can go ahead and we can put that aside for now. Okay, so now we're going to take one of our card or our zipper interior zipper pocket pieces. I have made marks on the front side of one of them as per the pattern, and I'm going to go ahead, use some double-sided tape and place my ID pocket in place, and once again, just like the other ones, top stitch them all the way around to make sure it fits. Now on the wrong side, we're going to use a little more 1/8 of an inch double-sided tape, same with the other one, just along that straight edge. And we're going to take our number 3 zipper. We're going to take these right side up. So both of these are right side up, and we are going to put it nice and centered, stick it down to the tape with about 1/8 of an inch of zipper tape showing away from the zipper tape. The first one is the hardest to get centered. The second side is easy to put on because you can just match it with this one. So once you have that nice and centered, stick her down, take the other zipper pocket piece, and stick it down to the other side of the zipper tape. So all of this is right side up, and we're going to go ahead and we are going to top stitch those in place with 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, which I have done. I've made some marks in the middle of my lining piece here. Those measurements are in the pattern, so please refer to those. So I have a center mark with 2 lines going out from the center. On the wrong side of my interior zipper pocket pieces, I'm using more double-sided tape. And I'm just going to do one side for now. So these are both right side up, the lining piece and the zipper pocket piece. And we're going to line it up with that line that's down from the center. And we are going to sew across here with 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. So we are not sewing down the center line. We're sewing down those lines we have drawn to the left and the right of the center line. Once you have that one done, we're going to stay at the machine here. We're going to take the tape off of the opposite side, and then we are going to line it up with that other line we drew down from the center line. Stick it down, and then top stitch that in place with an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance as well. Okay, so that's all done. This is what we have. Now we just have to close up these sides. So what we want to do is kind of bring we're just working with the pocket. So we kind of have everything feathered out towards opposite each other. We're bringing the zipper pocket sides together nice and even. Same with the other side, making sure they're nice and even and the zipper on top is nice and straight. And then we're going to just go ahead and seal those up with an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, top stitch. I'm changing into my right zipper foot here so I can get nice and close to that zipper tab again and just sewing down those sides without sewing down anything on the lining main piece, just the zipper pocket piece. This is what that looks like all done. Everything looks good. We have a functioning zipper pocket. Now the fun part, we need to put the exterior with the lining. Make sure you have your zipper pulls situated the way you want them to go. So I want both of my interior zipper pocket and my main zipper to be closing to the left. So I'm going to make sure they're orientated the same way. I'm going to use some double-sided tape here. You can use glue or whatever you like. I'm going to put about 3 or 4 strips down each side, not down the center. We're just going to do them on each side. Now what we are going to learn with this is that our lining piece is slightly smaller than our exterior piece, and that is what makes it so our wallet can fold shut and we can have stuff in it. We need the exterior to be a little bit bigger so it can have room for the cards and all of that. So this is where it gets tricky. So we're only going to work with one side at a time. So I always start with my my front side because it's the one I always stress about the most. Now you're going to kind of feel where that seam is on the exterior and match up the raw edges of our lining piece and stick it down to that. Now while you're doing this, you want to make sure that it's nice and centered and nothing is going to be getting in the way of that zipper tape. Now this took me a few tries to get it to where I needed it to stick well. Take your time, make it perfect, because there's nothing worse than if you get one side too close to those teeth and then you can't do up your zipper. So make sure it is nice and even. Now that that's done, we're going to start right about there, about 5/8 from the center, and just on there we're going to go ahead and top stitch. Now you can follow the line of top stitching that we did before at that 1/8 of an inch mark. I'm actually going to do both. I'm going to follow that line and then I'm going to go back in and I'm going to do another decorative row of top stitching because there is enough room there for me to do it with a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. You could also not worry about going back over that 1/8 of an inch line if you don't want to, and you could just go in with the 1/4 of an inch. But I found that with the raw edges of the cork that it just left a little bit too floppy, so you definitely need, I found you needed that 1/8 of an inch, and then the 1/4 of an inch just really helped hold everything in place. But that 1/4 of an inch top stitch is not included in the pattern. That is just a Brandy thing. Okay, so we've got that one side done. We're going to make sure our cards fit in there, and they do. And now we're going to go ahead and stick the other side down. And this is where you're going to see that the lining is slightly smaller than the exterior, but it's going to form that gusset where the zipper goes in and under, which is exactly what we want. So again, you're going to kind of pull it up. You're going to stick it down to where you want it to go. You're going to make sure that nothing is in the way of those zipper teeth. See, you can see there, see how there's a little bit of a lip? That's exactly what we want. So once you have that in place, you're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing and top stitch that in place all the way around, catching the lining and the exterior. Now that that's done, again, we did not sew through that gusset piece because that is too big and it would have made a big pleat. You don't want to do that. Make sure your cards fit everywhere. Make sure it zips up good. It does. Again, my zipper on the back's going the wrong way, but that's okay. This opens up well. Everything was caught. Admire your work. And we're done.
All right, that's it. That's all. What did you think about that? Isn't that zipper absolutely genius? Like, seriously, I think all zipper and wallet should go together like that. It just went together so easy. Anyways, if you like this video, please do give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. If you'd like to join my Facebook Bag Makers community, that link is down below in the description. Make sure you join there. If you'd like to support my channel further, you can always buy me a coffee. That's linked down below. And for now, I will catch you guys on the next one.